Crossroads channel of light fluid. Yes, we're back in Frostfang again as we pick up another episode of NeveN. And if you remember last time, Erik had a decision to make. What to do? I don't really have much better to do right now. Besides, I have to admit I'm pretty curious to see what this priest has to say to me. With a smile, I come and sit next to him, ears turned in his direction in order to listen carefully. I suppose I can spare you some of my time. I'm really curious to know why the whole world would be wrong about the Forgetful ones. A small chuckle escapes from behind the scarf concealing the priest's face. Oh, in that case, I'll do my best not to waste this precious time you're giving me. Let's see. NeveN, Tes, Minasa, Kalusan. Time, death, mind, and hunt. After Teslan was created, they would have forgotten about it, abandoned us in the process and refusing to offer us their brands. At least that seems to be accepted as a truth by everyone. And that's perfectly understandable. After all, it explains why we don't have any brands of time or mind. So far, nothing new. Everyone knows that. I guess there's a but that should be coming soon. But. Hehe, I knew it. I believe that in truth it is the exact opposite. I think these gods are the ones who love us the most and are acting for our well-being. What? I was expecting him to try and put a different spin on this story, but this seems a bit extreme. They ignore us, they refuse to brand us. How could they be the ones who love us the most? My confusion must be obvious since the priest is chuckling. I suppose further explanation is necessary. It would be more than welcome, yes. It's not like it's a completely opposite idea from what the rest of the world believes. Indeed, I could have phrased that a little bit better. But is that really what you believe? It doesn't make sense to me. I'll explain it. Be patient, young rabbit. But let's start with the question, if you don't mind. What exactly are brands? Oh, well, everyone knows that. The symbol of our gods apply to our bodies. They allow us to channel some of their power. That is the literal description, yes. However, it's much more than that. It's a direct connection with the deity, but also a responsibility, a duty, and a weight on our shoulders. I'm not sure I follow. Which god has branded you? Maybe it'll be clearer with an example. Ah, that question. I suppose I should have seen it coming. I sigh and shrug, looking away. And none, I still haven't received my brand. Really? You look old enough to me. I guess the gods have a good reason to make me wait, but why do you ask? I was hoping to use your brand as an example, but I guess I can do otherwise. Let's keep it simple, if you don't mind. As I said, a brand is a gift, but also a duty. Let's take a chosen of Maruyani as an example. The control of nature and the ability to heal are great gifts. I will never say otherwise. But it's also a great responsibility. Once they learn to heal, they can't stand aside if they come across an injured person. They are compelled to help, to use their power. The eyes of everyone, especially if their god, is upon them. We should use a different example, but I think I see what he's getting at. I understand the idea, but it doesn't work with every brand. Light or shadow brand users don't have such direct responsibilities, right? Indeed, but their duties lie elsewhere. In their case, it's more about the will to hold back. To hold back? From misusing their powers. It sounds simple when you say it like that, but the temptation can be great. For example, a light brand can be used to create illusions, to make people see what you want them to see. And can we not be tempted to use such powers for our own benefit, to the detriment of others? And even sometimes to our own detriment. Oh, I've seen enough Archons chosen can be covered in burns. And that's where we come back to the forgetful ones. The temptation to use such powers is strong with the brands we already have. Can you imagine what someone with control over time, mind, or death itself would be tempted to do? Let's take NeveN, for example. Have you ever imagined being able to go back, to change any of your actions, just do things differently? Another easy question. I know exactly what I would change if I could. I spent enough time thinking of better ways to act, to not cause everything that happened. I just nod silently. I don't really want to risk the priest hearing my trembling voice. Of course, everyone thinks like that. Everyone has a mistake from the past that they wish they could change. The brand of NeveN could give you that power. At first glance, it sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Again, I nod. I'm looking to see what exactly he's getting at. But what if you're not happy with the change either? Are you going back again? And change your past again and again and again? Wouldn't you be tempted to experience the same moment over and over again until it was perfect? To eventually understand that perfection doesn't exist, or lose your mind trying to find it? Not to mention, of course, the immense power that those brands would offer to the chosen. To control the mind of others, or to have control over death. Those very ideas are enough to make me shudder. This is why I believe that by choosing not to brand us, those who we commonly call the forgetful ones are actually the kindly ones. They spare us from these temptations and from this immense power. Isn't that proof of love? Right? I've never seen it like that. It makes sense, doesn't it? It's kind of like parents keeping their kids away from fire or swords, I suppose. But that doesn't mean your idea is flawless, sir. I too am capable of pondering about these things. I think I understand. It doesn't work for Sir Luthen, does it? I don't think his brand would be any more powerful than the others, if it ever existed. When he answers me, I feel like I hear a hint of amusement in the priest's voice. I'm not sure how to take it. It looks like you're able to pay attention to details. But yes, this idea does not work for the god of the hunt. I believe that in his case the explanation is even simpler. Oh, really? Brands are what differentiate us from animals. It is thanks to it that we acquired consciousness, that the gods revealed themselves to us and eventually became anthracans. But hunting is something eminently natural in the wilderness, something instinctive I'd even dare to say. It happens every second of the day and night out there. I think that's the explanation for Sir Luthen's absence. His domain is nature itself. He doesn't need a brand to convey his message. I am less convinced this time. Sure, animals hunt, but so do we. Akhet is the perfect example of this idea after all. He's a herbivore, lives like a predator. I must admit the idea is interesting. We can think about it a bit more at another time. I don't know. It's a theory. Not that it makes a difference in the end. They still don't brand us. But I think I understand why you'd want to serve them, if that's what you believe in. Well, I didn't say I was necessarily right. It's just what seems to make the most sense to me. Well, I find it hard to imagine the gods just forgetting their creation. Do parents easily forget their children? You'd be surprised how often that happens, priest. Believe me, I know something about it. My interlocutor stands up, briefly brushing imaginary dust from his thighs. I understand this is the end of our discussion. I do the same. Thank you for your time. I rarely have the opportunity to debate this kind of thing. I'm afraid my colleagues don't share my views. Oh, no problem. It was interesting, to say the least. Gave me something to think about. I guess that's more than I could have hoped for then. If you ever want to talk more, you can always find me here. Unfortunately, I must return to my occupation. It was a real pleasure. For me too, and I think I'll come back one of these days. We greet each other briefly, and I see him return to the altars of the Forgetful Ones. What a strange priest. Interesting, but strange. Don't think I've ever come across anyone who thinks like him. A gurgling sound echoes through the temple, and I can immediately find its source. I am clearly hungry. It's time for me to get something to eat, and quickly. I exit the temple, finding myself back on the street. There must be somewhere I can buy something to eat my fill in this big city. If I need any confirmation I am indeed in the capital, it's done. 5 copper coins for a loaf of bread. 5! The damn thing is hard as a rock. I hope the Royal Palace offers us food as well as lodging, as my purse will be empty for the competition. Hey, at least I ate something. I won't have survived Prince Maelbjorn's training on an empty stomach. I really hope he'll just ask me to watch from afar and clap when he does something impressive. My little trip around the city was quite interesting. The capital is one of the liveliest cities I've seen, and... Well, if this isn't Rago's little toy. Yeah, fuck. I easily recognized the voice coming from behind me. I should have known he would be there. Damn it. Sven, it's been so long. I almost thought I'd never see you again. That would have been such a shame. I force a smile and turn around to face my former colleague. I'm curious to see if he's changed in 2 years. And that's a no. The weasel is almost identical, I remember. Barely taller than me and dressed in the most colourful clothes he could find. As always, Sven is trying to be the centre of attention. And here I was hoping never to see him again when he left the troop. What in Tessel's name are you doing here? And where's the old stinky hound? It looks like you're charming as ever, Sven. But to answer your questions, Rhaegar isn't with me, and I guess we are both here for the same reason. There's a contest and I intend to win it. He looks surprised for a moment, then chuckles mockingly. I don't like that. At all. Really? No. That's interesting. What happened? You found a new toy you weren't interested in and kicked you out of the band too? Oh, please, are you still bitter about it? It's been over 2 years, it's time to move on. To move on? I had an interesting job in a great band, and then one morning you show up and suddenly I'm relegated to doing backup vocals. Rhaegar let you sing the solos whenever you wanted. Don't exaggerate the situation. You took my job. And better. What can I do about it? You can't blame Rhaegar for wanting to make the most entertaining show possible. Better my ass. He took pity on you, decided to keep you instead of me. That's it. The old geezer likes to play saviour, and you're here to satisfy this need. Oh, yeah, of course. It speaks he took pity on me that when I left he threw me a farewell party and practically begged me to stay. That's strange. I don't remember him doing that when you announced you were leaving. I taunt him, smiling with all my teeth. Sven has always been an asshole, especially with me. I have absolutely no problem getting into his face. I have the immense satisfaction of seeing him unable to come up with an immediate response. Watching him ruminate like this, grumbling as he searches an appropriate answer, is a unique pleasure I don't think I'll ever tire of. Alas, that pleasure seems to be short-lived. The weasel looks satisfied with his upcoming comeback. Whatever. His opinion shouldn't really matter now. After all, it's the kings we're going to try to please. You will try. I will succeed. Well, I have my doubts, you see. You're a good singer, Erik. There's no denying it. But that's all you are, a singer. And I think the royal court expects a little more than that. As good as you are, without music you are not worth much. Well, I know that none of Rhaegar's musicians would have abandoned him. So here you are, all alone, while I have my new band with me. I'm sure it'll be very cute to see you perform all alone in front of the court. But I can give them a real show. So, go on, little dreams of victory if you want to. But as long as you're on your own, you have no chance of winning. I suddenly feel an urge to ram my fist into this asshole's face. Mainly because I know he's right. I have perfect confidence in my abilities. I also know the musician is necessary if I want to compete with Sven. Unfortunately, I don't have any valid argument at the moment. Unless... Oh! Erik, buddy, you are a genius. But, my dear, who told you I was all alone? I can read the surprise on his face. You're bluffing. Never would one of Rago's musicians have... They wouldn't have left him. Yes, I know. You're repeating yourself, Sven. Getting senile, are we? It turns out our mutual friends and have exclusivity concerning the musicians of Frostfang. You expect me to leave you already managed to find a musician? How long have you been here? Well, let's say I've been around for a very short time. It appears that, unlike you, I'm able to be friendly with the people I meet. You'd be surprised how helpful that can be. Yes, it happens I met a lute player. Oh, you should hear him. Getting chills just thinking about it. Maybe overdoing it a bit. After all, I've never heard Akhet play. But then again, I doubt anyone would offer him this wonderful lute who wasn't at least somewhat skilled. Exaggerating reality is totally valid if I can wipe the smile off Sven's face. Oh, and did I mention he's Macadian? I'm absolutely certain the court will be most intrigued by his presence, and you know how the nobles love the exotic. You're lying. There's no way you could have found such a gem on the road. Why would I lie about something so easily verified? And now for the coup de grace. I snapped my fingers as if I suddenly remembered something. Oh, wait! If you doubt what I'm saying, ask the prince. After all, he was there to greet me personally last night. Which reminds me, also invited me to one of his training sessions. And unfortunately, I have to leave you here in the dust of the street. We don't keep royalty waiting. I believe that if his luck could kill, I'd be dead on the spot. I'm kind of glad he only has an earth brand. No doubt I'd been charred long if he'd been branded by Argon. Without waiting for a response, I turn around to go back to the castle, but I'm quickly stopped by his grip on my shoulder. I can feel him squeeze me so hard it hurts. What the... Sven, let me go! I know you, Erik. You screw up everything you do. That's all you're good at. So be as cocky as you want. I know you're going to do something stupid. You're going to screw the wrong guy or piss off the nobles. I don't care now, but you're going to fuck it up somehow. And when you are humiliated, when our lords drive you from their court for your actions, I will have the pleasure of seeing you return to the cesspool Rhaego was kind enough to pull you from. You'll be back where you fucking belong while I enjoy my new job. So enjoy what you have and keep being arrogant while you can. You're just a parasite, Erik, and someone will eventually crush you. I'll be there to see the show, believe me. Sven never had the most sympathetic tone when he spoke to me before. I never heard so much venom in his voice. It takes me a few seconds to compose myself. While he may not be the most eloquent, the bastard knows how to hit where it hurts. Evoking my past is one of his classics. I've learned to ignore those little jabs, even thrown a few back at him. The idea of becoming homeless again, and by my own fault, that's new. And that really hurts. I face him to... I don't even know why exactly. Spit on him? Punch him in the face? Ray's already gone. It was taking longer than I thought to recover from his insults and took this opportunity to leave. Shit. Well, it won't have been the most pleasant encounter, but at least I was able to return a few blows. Focus on that. Keep it positive. Sven is not that important after all. He has no real power here. The only person who can screw things up is you. So we focus on the present and do what we have to do to win. And to begin with, I didn't see Akhet in quickly. I just hired him as a musician without actually telling him or getting his approval. Excellent, Erik. As always, you speak before you think. I can fix the situation. A little time left before the prince's training session. Akhet is probably in his room. I hope so, anyway. I should be able to make a deal with him. I returned to the castle at a much faster pace than usual. I have a bird to hire in due form. Well, this first morning in the capital has been strange, to say the least. Interesting, but strange. I get on without seeing Sven again, though. It have spared me from standing in front of Akhet's bedroom, wondering how to ask the Falcon to work with me, without letting him know they'd already announced our partnership with someone else. To be perfectly honest, I mostly want to check on him. Yesterday's attack took quite a toll on him, and I don't want it to wear on him too much. I take a deep breath and knock on the door. Akhet? And I immediately realize I assumed he's going to spend the day in his room, which is ridiculous since there's a good chance he isn't there. In which case it's going to make things a lot more difficult for me. I don't really have time to search the whole castle, let alone the capital, if he decided to go out. Fortunately, the door opens a few seconds after I knock, revealing the Falcon who doesn't look in his greatest shape. Akhet has dark circles around his eyes, and he looks downcast. He smiles when he sees me, but it doesn't take a genius to figure out this smile is forced. Come on, Erik, let's put some joy back into this poor bird. Oh, hello, Erik. I didn't expect to see you. Hey, what, you thought I was going to abandon you that we arrived? Well, my style, buddy. You'll have to put up with me. I have to admit, the thought did cross my mind. It looks like I brought you luck so far. It's not like you had anything to do with it. Can I come in, by the way? Let's have a little chat, and the hallway isn't the best place for that. Oh, yes, sure. Please, come in. He steps aside to let me pass, which I do with a bouncy step. It may be over the top, but some happiness shouldn't hurt him. I stop doing it once inside, though. A quick glance at his room tells me a lot about him. He and I have two very, very different notions of how to organise things. His bag is neatly tucked to the side, while his bed is made as if no one's ever slept in it. I can't see any clothes lying around on the floor. For a split second, I picture my bag randomly thrown on the ground, my clothes all over the floor and the sheets hanging off the side of my bed. I quickly chase that thought away. Sure, very different styles. Absolutely not a sign that I need to take better care of my stuff. Seeing a chair, I sit down in his bed, crossing my legs as I beckon him to come join me, which he does after closing the door. So, what do you want to talk about? Yeah, you can wait a bit. How are you doing? No offense, but you look like shit. I'm fine overall. I just slept really badly. A lot of nightmares. Hey, that's understandable considering what happened yesterday. I should have helped you. I should have done something. I already told you not to worry about it. I stood still, Erik. They could have killed you and I just stood there and watched. My brand isn't useful in the fight, but I could have tried something. That's what I see when I try to sleep. Just that dog cutting your throat open while I watch helplessly. Why do you even want to talk to me after that? You needed help and I just abandoned you. Akhet starts to shake and tears run down his cheeks. Shit. I knew he'd be affected by what happened, but I didn't think he'd be so consumed with guilt. And I'm really struggling to understand why. It's not like he'd have done anything. This situation was a disaster from the start. We're lucky to get out of it alive. I can't leave him like that. I have to do something. I slowly put my paw on his shoulder while I try to catch his eye. Hey, that's not how I see it. I didn't need you to come and rescue me. In fact, I didn't ask you to do anything for me. But shh, listen, okay? We're under attack. Neither you nor I could have done anything about it. I can see that you're not a warrior, Akhet. You're not used to this situation. I am. I've been on the road a long time and I've been through that before. Believe me, you did great. The first time a gang attacked our group, I spent my time curled up in a ball hiding in the bottom of a wagon. I know how terrifying those situations can be. So, don't beat yourself up over it. You really don't want it to happen again. Learn to stand up for yourself and to react properly. I want you to know that I don't blame you. I will never blame you for being afraid. Now it's over. So stop thinking about things that haven't happened and never will. I grab him by the shoulder and turn him slightly to face me as he indulges. Then I lean in so that our foreheads are against each other while looking into his eyes. So yes, I'm here. I still want to talk with you, and that will never change. He closes his eyes silently, and I do the same. We are simply standing there while he thinks about what I just said. The sound of our breaths is the only thing that breaks the silence. We both stay still against each other. Thank you. I still have to think about this whole situation, but thank you. That's why I'm here. You still have trouble sleeping. My room's right next to yours. So don't be shy and come see me, okay? I'll think about it. But why are you so nice to me? Because I'm perfect, of course. An incredible body and a great personality, all in one. He laughs softly and raises his head while I raise mine too. At least he's receptive to my humour now. So, what did you want to talk about? I need to get my mind off this whole thing. Oh, right. I need to get that out of the way. This day's pretty busy, it seems. I've been thinking about the contest, and I came up with an amazing idea. And absolutely not something I said to piss someone off. Oh, but why do you want to share this idea with me? We are competitors. What if we weren't anymore? I think we should team up. We could present ourselves as a duo, you as a musician and me as a singer. Akhet seems doubtful. Well, not quite the reaction I was expecting. You don't seem particularly delighted by the idea. Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to play music for you, but is that even allowed? I participate in a few competitions back home and it's almost always solo. Oh, okay. I guess it must seem like a strange idea then. Theoretically, that's the case here for most contests. This one is not exactly like the others, from what I understand. The goal is not necessarily to award the best bard, but to pick someone who can entertain the court. So, if we do a better job as a group, they should be fine with it. As long as we don't show up with a band of 15 people, I guess. Don't see them hosting that many people at the castle permanently. Oh, it's a lot less formal than in my country. There aren't any specific rules when it comes to the number of people then. Nah, strict rules aren't really our thing here. Unlike you Mercadians, we don't have a broom up our ass. I stick my tongue out at him playfully as he rolls his eyes. Seems to be doing better, and I'm glad to see it. I hold out my paw to him, a big smile on my face. So, shall we team up? We'll have a much better chance of winning by helping each other after all. He hesitates for a moment, while reaching out his talon to shake mine, a smile forming on his face. Very well. Besides, it's always more enjoyable to perform with a friend. Now that's the way to go. There is still one last detail to be settled. You have a huge advantage over me, you know. An advantage? I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. I smile as broadly as I can while winking at the falcon. Well, you heard me sing. I don't think I've heard you play. If we really want to get into this partnership, I need to be sure you're on my level. Akhet tries to hold back a chuckle at my remarks. He reaches for his lute, gently stroking its neck. I suppose you're right, so it makes sense to me to try it. I've played for frosting before, and I don't know if you like it. I mean, our tastes are very different in both countries, but maybe I can adapt to it. Really seems like he likes to talk whenever he gets worried. I'm going to have to teach him to control himself. I want to have good chemistry in our band. Akhet, less talking, more playing. Stop freaking out like that. Just do your thing. The falcon gives me a surprised look before taking a long breath. I see a white light appear under his shirt near his shoulder. Did he activate his brand? I have the time to ask. His fingers slide across the strings and music begins to fill the room. My attention is entirely focused on Akhet, who is sitting next to me. Spent a lot of time with musicians of all kinds, some truly gifted, but I've never heard anything like this. The notes seem to float and stay in the air longer than they should, sometimes shifting in tone. They change in ways I don't think are naturally possible. Akhet must have an air brand. That's the only possible explanation. He uses to modify the sounds he plays, creating notes and melodies that are impossible to replicate otherwise. It's something I'd witnessed, but never on this level. Most musicians just carry the sounds further or extend a few notes. They're unable to continually alter what they're playing. I look at the falcon's expression with curiosity. His eyes are closed, completely focused on his instrument. Any form of anxiety or stress is gone now. He seems calmer than ever. Unable to resist any longer, I open my mouth to accompany him. I sing nothing specific, no words or phrases, but simply sounds, vowels flying through the air, accompanying Akhet's notes and dancing with them. I don't know how much time we spend sitting next to each other, him playing and me singing. It doesn't really matter. We enjoy each other's art and create something better than we could have done on our own. The last note eventually fades, and a pleasant silence settles over the room. Neither he nor I really want to break it. He raises his head, his gaze meeting mine, and we both smile. So, do you think I'm good enough to play for you? No. I think we'll simply crush our competitors. His smile widens even more. I must admit I didn't expect him to be this good, and I truly believe that no one will be able to beat us in this contest. Once again my gaze falls on Akhet's lute. It is truly a work of art in itself. No wonder the falcon is so protective of it. Do you want to play? Obviously the falcon has caught my eye. Are you sure? As precious as it is, it's still an instrument. It's meant to be used. Here's an opportunity I don't intend to miss. I take hold of the lute as gently as I can, almost caressing the black wood. But, just to be sure, do you know how to play? Yeah, don't worry. I'm not a certified musician. I've at least learned the basics. I just need to remember everything. It's been a while since I played. I smirk before closing my eyes. I wasn't kidding. It's really been quite a while since I last played something. My instrument is my voice, after all. My fingers slowly slide over the strings, trying to remember their correct placement. I know it's something like this. Lower your right paw a little. Place this finger on the second string. For a brief moment I stand still. It was a voice I had not heard in a long time. No. Pull yourself together. Don't forget you left all that behind. Maybe it'd be easy if you guided my movements. So you'll be more focused on my paws on what you're playing? No way. You're here to learn something. Stop it. Erik? Oh, am I that unsubtle? It's mostly that I know you well, my love. Erik? Hey, is everything okay? Erik? Akhet's voice finally reaches me. I open my eyes to face the falcon, who looks at me with a worried expression. My breathing is faster than usual. Calm down. Catch your breath and force a smile. Yeah, I'm fine, don't worry. I was just trying to remember how this works. Please don't ask me for more details. Don't insist. Okay, if you don't want to play, there's no pressure, you know. May the gods be thanked. No. I said I was going to play you something. I'm going to play you something. I told you. I just had to remember how to do it. Here, it's okay, look. I slide my thumb over one of the strings, pressing on it. However, as I release it, I feel something go wrong and I hear a snap. Fuck, damn it. The string snapped in half, looping along the neck of the instrument once it was cut cleanly. If I had the lute in my paws for less than 2 minutes, I managed to break something. Oh, I'm so very sorry, Akhet. I assure you it was an accident. I put the instrument as gently as possible on the bed before getting up. It's okay. These things happen. I should have a replacement string somewhere. Yeah, sure. I'll let you do that then. Oh, you're leaving already? I have a meeting with the prince. I almost forgot with all this. I'll see you later to discuss how we're organising the contest. That's not entirely a false excuse. I really need to start hurrying if I don't want to be late. I also need to get out of here. I need to get my act together, and I can't do it with Akhet next to me. I must not find out about this. Right, I forgot. Training, right? Oh, good luck, I think. I don't know what I'm supposed to say in this situation. Good luck seems appropriate. I'll take that, thanks. Without waiting for his answer, I'm running out of the room. I had to find a good spot to sit down. After a few minutes of wandering around the castle, I end up on the stone bench in the deserted hallway. I breathe as slowly and deeply as possible. I need to calm down. Why did Vigo pop into my head like that? I've touched the lute before, and it's never done this to me. Is it just a shock the last 2 days? The meeting with Sven? Damn, thought I was done with all that. I wish Erik was here. He always knows what to say. No, that's not how I'm going to get better. You're also here to learn how to take care of yourself, so you get your shit together and cut the crap, Erik. I spend a few minutes on the bench, just reassuring and encouraging myself. Been shaken up by the last few events. That's no reason to go backwards. I'm better than that. There's no point in staying here. I really do have a training session with Maelbjorn. I shouldn't keep the prince waiting. Also need to find a way to make it up to Akhet. Again, I found myself wandering the corridors of the castle, this time with a slightly more specific goal in mind, the training room. I have to go to another wing of the building, and as I pass through the courtyard, I see Akhet leaning against the wall, carving a piece of wood. His huge bow sits next to him, and as I watch it, impressed by its size, an idea comes to me. I know how to apologise to Akhet. I walk towards the stag with an honest smile stretching my lips. Despite my light step, his ears twitch at my approach, and he raises an indifferent gaze at me before resuming his activity. Here's that little prey of yesterday. What can I do for you? A pleasure to see you, dear. I was just come to thank you once again for the rescue, and I potentially have a little something to ask you. 3 times nothing. I'm leaving the blank in the conversation, hoping he'll respond. Stag once again takes his eyes off what appears to be a wooden figure. That of a creature I don't recognise. He stares at me silently with an insistent expression, obviously expecting me to continue. Oh, I see someone's in a talkative mood. I'm fine with that. I can hear myself talk more often like that. I give a playful smile to my interlocutor who lets out a little chuckle while returning to his activity. As I was saying, I just need a small favour. I accidentally broke a string on my friend's lute, and I could use a replacement. I figured given your weapon and a job, you must know something about strings. About bowstrings. Is there a difference? I sing of love, you dance with death. We're all part of the great symphony of life. You've got some nice word in, but that won't get you far if you plan to fix this lute with your words. We use linen strings for our bows. They're less fragile in humidity. What you should look for is guts. First, ew. And I suddenly regret touching those instruments. Besides, I knew it wasn't going to be that easy, but it's worth trying. I nod politely to the deer and I'm about to turn away when he speaks again. I can still help you, you know. I have enough to make your strings. I just need to replenish my stock. Tomorrow I'm going hunting. I'd bring back meat for a banquet anyway. You can join me if you don't mind waking up early. I don't think I've ever hunted anything. Instinctively, I'm not in a hurry to try. Not to mention that I'll have to get up early in the morning. I guess it's my punishment for everything I've done since this morning. Bite your tongue, Erik. Who knows, it might even be fun. Well, so be it. Looks like we have a deal. Just, come wake me up if you don't mind, just to make sure. He rolls his eyes and goes back to his carving. Let's say it's his way of saying yes. In the hallway I can hear the clink of steel, which instantly causes me to recall the fight I witnessed the day before. I wince as I remember the sound of flesh tearing, then shake my head to think of something else. Don't know why my brain seems so intent on reminding me of things I want to forget today. I really want to thank it for that. It's a real pleasure. The further I go in the direction of the training room, the more I feel a certain uneasiness building up inside me. Am I really cut out to be a warrior? I'm smaller than average, clearly weaker. I don't even have a brand. So the answer is an obvious no. Unfortunately, it seems I have no choice. I need to be able to defend myself. Why can't the world just be little birds and pretty males who worship me? Oh, let's be honest. You'd probably get bored after a while. And while I enjoy love songs, it's far more interesting to sing about tragic heroes and the struggles of our warriors. If If I want to live in a world that gives me more material to work with, I must also endure said material. What better way to find inspiration than be in the middle of chaos? I'd just rather not have to be in the fray, be able to observe from far away enough to be safe. Finally, I end my mental conflict and stop in front of the large pine door to the training room and attempt to push it open. Holy crap, how heavy is this? Is that part of my training to be able to get in? Pushing with my shoulder and leaning heavily on my paws, I finally manage to swing it open. I almost fall, but this time my reflexes seem to work properly, and I catch myself on the heavy iron knocker of the door. Haha, not this time, gravity. Fortunately, no one saw my graceful entrance. In fact, the only two people in the room are Gillian and Maelbjorn, and they are engaged in a fierce duel. The rest of the room is covered with all kinds of weaponry, looking more like a trophy room than anything else. Focusing on the duelists, I don't really feel like I'm watching a sparring session, but rather a real fight, given the intensity of the blows and the fact that both opponents use real weapons. Armed with an axe and a shield, the prince blocks and returns blow for blow, with surprising celerity given his size. Holding his sword firmly in both paws, this time it is Gillian who is on the defensive, though without losing his grace. The bear's brutal blows are either deflected or momentarily blocked by the feline. Seems well aware that in an overly prolonged exchange the prince will have the upper hand. Maelbjorn is also aware of his strength, using his shield almost as much as his axe when it comes to going on the offensive. He bashes several times the blade of the masked warrior with his shield, forcing him to open his guard, in order to follow up with a strike of the axe that aimed at his flank or his head. There is no verbal exchange between the two, no insult or taunt. They seem to understand and respect each other with a simple look. It's in this silent agreement that I can somehow understand the importance of fighting for the prince. If I didn't know they were on the same side, I'd be convinced they were trying to kill each other. The more I look at them, the more I see their smiles. They're having fun. I don't know if it's stupidity or insanity, but they're enjoying the fight. I'm starting to think that I'm not going to just bash on the dummy. Please don't put me through a real fight. To be honest, I expected Maelbjorn to be overprotected and out of touch with the realities of our world, but he's clearly the type who likes to take risks. Given the love most Frostians have for war, should I really be surprised our leaders embody them so wonderfully? My ramblings are once again interrupted when the din caused by the fight suddenly stops. I see the prince take a breath, looking satisfied before turning to me. Even caught up in his duel, he obviously saw me enter. Great. That also means he must have seen me almost fall. I approach as Gillian steps back, watching me with his piercing gaze. I smile back at him to show him that politeness isn't totally forgotten for one of us. The panther just grunts and then stands in the corner, crossing his arms and resting against the farthest wall he can find. Seems to be the lonely type too. I wonder who would win if he and Akhet had a staring contest. Come to think of it, he seems to be just the opposite of the prince. When we talk about the bear, we see his nose. Maelbjorn puts down his weapon and joins me with a big smile. Well, this isn't the budding warrior, the big-eared slayer, the dwarf rabbit bard. I restrain myself from rolling my eyes. They not have been here long. I already begin to understand why they're all so closed off. They probably have to endure Maelbjorn's quips on a daily basis. I muster all my courtesy and my best charming smile, determined to win the bear's favour. Let's seduce the nobility, Erik, but don't push it too far. You made a promise, after all. I'm not a dwarf rabbit, but the rest is true. That's why I'm here, my prince. The mountain of muscle looks down on me, and he waves his paw in my direction, responding with amusement. Ready? Well, given your size, I'd have thought... I wasn't very motivated to train, but the more time passed in the bear's company, the more I want to poke him with the pointy end of my rapier. Just a bit. Then I remember Gillian's presence. He'd probably make a roast out of me if I lifted a finger against the bear. Well, the dwarf rabbit will have to teach the prince a lesson or two, I suppose. I wink playfully at Maelbjorn, and that makes him chuckle. Seems to be enjoying verbal jousting, though I expected him to be more sensitive than that given his rank. Gillian, on the other hand, seems decidedly far less appreciative of my manners. Obviously, I'd be more careful than that when talking to the prince in his presence. Show me what you're capable of first. You can joke around when you're able to stand up to me. The bear grabs a stick and plants himself in front of me for standing on guard, well supported on his legs. He seems to be amused by the situation. His body shows how serious he truly is. And I don't get a stick? I know I'm very intimidating, but I doubt I could beat you with my bare paws. You have a rapier. What are you waiting for to unsheath it? I tilt my head, question the prince with my eyes before shaking my paws in refusal. No. There's no way I'm using a real weapon in training, let alone against you. I could poke you in the eye. No, I won't. There's a difference between my need to wipe the smirk off his face and wanting to hurt him for good, after all. Well, if you manage to injure me, I guess I have nothing to teach you. If that happens, I'll make you a royal guard on the spot. It'll be a more suitable position for you than being a court bard. Looks like I'm not the only one in this room overflowing with confidence. I intend to refuse again, but the bear is quicker. He lowers the tip of his stick and smacks me on the side of the buttock. I've heard all about the legendary vigour of rabbits, so be quick on your paws. On guard! I open my mouth, but no sound comes out. Did he really just tap my ass? Okay, I accept the challenge. Quickly, I grab my rapier and pull it out of its scabbard before preparing to fight. I allow myself to address Gideon, who is silently observing this strange duel. If anything happens, I want you to note it was not my idea. I manage to wring a wry smile from the panther. He seems as sure as the bear about my inability to hurt him. I know I'm not too experienced, but still. You could fake it a little. I have an ego to defend. I prepare to dive forward, aiming the tip of my weapon at the bear's armoured belly. If I'm going to hit, it might as well be a well-protected spot. The prince's stick strikes my blade with force, deflecting as I'm swept away in my rush. No way am I going to let go of it this time. I'd be the target of further mockery if I lost my weapon again. However, while I have my gaze planted on the stick for fear of taking a hit, it is the bear's paw that comes to stop me by the shoulder, and I feel my legs give way beneath me. The next thing I know, I'm hitting the floor hard. Well pleased it's covered with a soft carpet. Am I really going to be on the floor every day that the gods let me live? I stay there grunting. Then Maelbjorn's head appears above me, displaying a sneering look. I'm still waiting for the lesson you wanted to give me. I just stare at him menacingly. Well, as menacingly as I can, given my situation. Then he holds out his paw and I hesitate to grab it for a moment. He'd be capable of humiliating me some more. Finally, I let out a long sigh and decide to accept his help. Once I stand, I dust off my clothes and shake my head. Since when is it normal to sweep someone off their feet in a fight? I thought we were supposed to be practicing with weapons. Well, it's a mistake to think that a fight consists of elegant swordplay and honor among gentlemen. Well, anything that can help you survive is useful. Wonderful. Now he's going to give me a life lesson. Yeah. I'm only here to play music. Do I really have to go through this? The prince's face lights up and he points at me and nods. I have to speak in your language. You see, I'm something of an artist myself. I mean, let's say I see fighting as an art. He doesn't need to give a fuck about my question, so I just watch him dubiously, trying to see where he's going with his metaphor. Only in music, there are notes that are not used too often, because they're considered discordant. In themselves, they don't sound right. But in a song, when these notes are put in harmony with the others, they form a whole which can make a wonderful melody. It's a little more complex than that, but let's say you're right. So what? In combat, it works basically the same way. Discordant note is something that your opponent does not expect from you, and that seems to have no place in a fight. Dirt in the eyes, tripping your adversary, even a good old kick in the balls. Whatever floats your boat as long as it keeps you alive. And the sound of my metaphor is your fight. The end justifies the means. Use discordant notes to win. Have a beautiful symphony. So, all this was to explain to me they have to kill my opponent no matter what? I'm obviously not the only one who likes to hear himself talk. The bear nods briskly with a bright smile, ignoring my jab, obviously too happy his explanation has achieved its purpose. For all my bitch, I'll at least give him this. He tried to come on my field to make his explanation. Didn't expect that from a nobleman, much less a prince. Okay, let's say I get it. My question is, what am I supposed to do to defend myself? Well, I'd say that first of all you should change your weapon. You're small and weak. A rapier is not the best choice for you. So, the only person who has the right to diminish me like that is myself. I have to admit I'm seriously getting tired of this kind of remark. Seriously, why is everyone focusing on my size and strength? Couldn't someone point out that I'm cute or something along the line? My annoyance must be visible because Maelbjorn seems to understand the situation, lays his ears on his head with an apologetic look before resuming in a calm tone. My point is, a spear would suit you better. Since most of your opponents will have a much longer reach than your little arms you have, you need to compensate with a longer weapon. I try to contain my smile. Of course, in bed as in war, it seems the only thing that matters to most is size. I collect myself by clearing my throat, hoping the prince hasn't picked up my little mental escapade. Let's say I use a spear. How am I supposed to skewer someone? I don't have the strength to do that. I already have trouble carrying a sword. Oh, it's pretty simple. Most of your opponents will underestimate you. Use that to your advantage. Taunt them, make them attack you. You see them charge and you put the wooden end of your spear against the ground. You may not have the strength to impale someone, but the ground will take care of it just fine. What if they're not stupid and they don't rush me? Oh, I guess you ran to someone who knows how to control himself and you're probably dead anyway. Great, Mr. Trainer. What an amazing way to support your students. I feel so much confident now. I'll see you tomorrow for the next lesson, how to run away from certain death. Anyway, I can't do that. I care about this weapon. It's given to me by a friend, so I have to take care of it. Well, that's cute, but it won't save you. In all honesty, and I'm sorry to offend you, my prince, I doubt your advice will help me much. In fact, my physicality is not the only problem I have with fighting. It's just not in my nature. I'm here to love and sing, not to fight. I really don't enjoy violence. Also, I tend to freeze up when I'm scared. It's a rabbit thing. And you believe that other species don't have this problem? Everyone is afraid of death. That's a normal thing even for me. You have to get in a specific frame of mind when you fight. If you think about death, it's already over for you. I'm sure the problem is more complex than that. I don't intend to show my disagreement with the prince, let alone when he's talking about something he seems to have a good handle on. And how am I supposed to fight my instincts? The bear shrugs and smiles as he gives me another poke on the butt with his stick. He's starting to get pushy. You have to tap into all the emotions that drive you to survive, especially anger. Anger is a powerful tool, but just not let it consume you. Turn your anger into passion first and foremost, and with passion you'll prevail. Now we go back to the 2 copper coin philosophy. He's nice, but a little too idealistic and out of touch with reality for my taste at the moment. It's a nice way to say it, and as a bard I find it very poetic. But practically speaking, how am I supposed to apply your advice? Suddenly the air loses characteristic joviality. He becomes dead serious and gives me a threatening look while his muscles tense up to their maximum. My instincts abruptly kick in as I've had a real opponent facing me. You're weak. Your companion could have died horribly and you did nothing to save him. Excuse me? Your life is worthless and you're unable to fight for it. They'd have skinned you and roasted you and you did nothing. I can still feel my muscles contracting, but no longer from fear. Prince or not, who does this asshole think he is? These are these superiors he can swing a sword. Anyone can do that. Without a word, I strike as furiously and frantically as I can. I know my assault doesn't make any sense, but it makes me feel great. All this frustration not being able to do anything, this feeling I've been accumulating like a knot in my stomach since yesterday, the conversation with Sven, what happened with Akhet. In fact, everything I've accumulated since I've been breathing. I'm unloading it all now. Obviously, Maelbjorn has no trouble deflecting every one of my strikes. I don't need them to hurt. I just need to hit someone. The prince has been the most vexing since I arrived. Ha ha, the prey can fight back. Well, it's laughable, but you can try. He laughs louder and louder, and it's pissing me off even more. How can he afford to make a mockery of all this? Why was I born weak and he strong? Why don't the gods give me my brand? While I want to be able to sing and live my life, I don't give a fuck about bandits and all that crap. Let me have what I want, just once. I start to scream as I swing towards the bear. I can hear the rasp of my blade against the wood of his weapon. I can feel the tears welling up on my eyes and blinding me, but I keep going. Slowly I weaken, exhausted both physically and mentally by this training. The rhythm of my attack slows down and I fall to my knees, my blade slipping from my fingers. I try to suppress my sobs, but I feel as if I've gone out of control. I can suddenly feel the prince's big paw on my shoulder. When I open my misty eyes, I can see his cloudy form kneeling beside me. As I wipe my eyes, he smiles with a reassuring expression. See, you can overcome your instincts after all. It was really good for first training. There's a little lack of control, but that will come with practice. He just wanted to push me over the edge, all to force me to hit him like I did. For a second I just want to flood him with insults, tell him what an asshole he is. And then I realise that I feel better. Not everything is perfect, obviously, but I'm better. I have fewer things on my mind and I feel lighter. I then raise my muzzle, casting a pleading look toward the bear. Do we really need to do this every time we train? The big beast bursts out laughing next to me. I have to admit it's quite contagious as I start to smile. Oh, I think we can take it a little easier next time. I can feel the bear's huge arms passing under mine and lifting me up as if I weigh nothing. Then the prince crosses his arms, looking as cheerful as ever. You know, if it makes you feel better, you can insult me too. Oh, I don't know. The panther's menacing gaze intensifies as I allow myself a glance in his direction. I know it's a bad idea to say so much as one inappropriate remark to the prince, so insulting him might be pushing it a bit too far. But at the same time, it's kind of tempting. After everything he's put me through, I'd like to pay him back. What to do? I like the idea of keeping my head on my shoulders, so let's not overdo it. A little disparaging remark will satisfy the prince without totally pissing him off. I look Maelbjorn in the eye with my best mocking expression. It's time to return the favour. I don't want to brag, but I'm pretty good with jabs. You know, as a bard I hear a lot of rumours about different nobles and rulers around the world. My long ears aren't just for show. People who pass through the various royal courts talk a lot once they've had enough to drink, and I'm there to lend them a listening ear. The prince crosses his arms and insists with his eyes that I continue, a little amused frown on his lips. He's expecting a punchline in my story, so I hope to give him what he wants. It turns out the favourite topic of these ladies and gentlemen is what happens in bed. So much so that one would think the nobles only think about sex. They love to talk about their torrid nights with lovers of all kinds, practicing the most exotic deeds. The bear's confidence quickly changes to an inquisitive stare. I think he's beginning to understand what direction I'm headed in with the story. The big problem is, it turns out I could hear a lot about the feats of your fathers. Not exactly my father's. Lusk is my uncle. And I don't want to know about his feats. Oh, you should pay attention though. We even made songs about it. When the kings start to fuck, better not try your luck. You should hear their rumbles, they can make walls crumble. I have the great pleasure of seeing embarrassed for the first time. I haven't heard these kind of rumours, but I haven't heard about any about you, so I wonder if it's a performance issue or maybe just a lack of experience. Usually princes are known for their frolicking. Hey, easy there. I'm discreet about it, that's it. Given Maelbjorn's outraged face and defensive tone, I clearly struck a chord. Interesting hypothesis. But you know, it's not a great selling point to say the prince is discreet in my songs. I'd rather say he's having some trouble hoisting the mast, if you know what I mean. It makes the people laugh. They need to vent against the powerful after all. Oh, I don't think my subjects care about my personal life at all. Besides, if they'd rather have me fucking around than leading, they don't know how heavy the weight of my office is. Indeed, the weight of your office is much less important to them than the weight of your... Enough. Oh, I get it. You had your fun, and your training. Seeing the bear's irritated look, I struggle not to laugh. I put on my most sarcastic air to answer him. I'm sorry, my prince. Please accept my deepest apologies. I feel the need to bow to Maelbjorn to mock him a bit more, but he stops me in my tracks by holding my shoulders. There's no need for that. I'll accept your apology on one condition. I want you to train regularly, even when I'm not around. I'll keep that in mind, but that's it. I don't want to brag, but I was expecting something more physical. I'll have to spare you a bit. I don't want to break you from the start. I must confess not understanding the prince's obsession with my physical condition, but it seems to matter to him, so I nod politely. I understand. That said, forgive me, my prince, but my day has been long and exhausting. I'd like to rest a little. May I? With a wave of his paw, the bear dismisses me and picks up his weapon, preparing to continue his slightly more serious training with Gilliant, while jovially calling out to me. Go, and don't forget my advice. Say hello to your feathery friend, by the way. Hope you enjoy yourself here until the competition starts. I will not fail to do so. Good day, my prince, and to you too, Gilliant. The panther grunts back at me, apparently as pleasant as ever. He must not have appreciated the jabs I threw at the prince. It was a strange day, to say the least. Fortunately, after training with Maelbjorn, things calmed down a bit. Finally, I had a chance to take a little nap in my room. Then explored the palace a bit. Well, the areas that are accessible to me, at least. Which also means I located the most essential place in the entire building, the one I absolutely need to remember the location of. The kitchen. This allowed me to confirm that I won't have to pay for all of my meals. My purse is saved, at least for now. Once my little exploration was over, I simply went back to my room. I'd had enough excitement for the day, and the urge to go out was gone. Not to mention that I promised Veka that I'd go hunting with him tomorrow morning. Only the gods know exactly what time I'll have to wake up. Going to bed relatively early sounds like a good idea to me. However, before I go to sleep, I'm going to knock on Akhet's door. I wonder how the bird is doing and apologise the way I behaved when I left. Unfortunately, no one answers me. I guess he's out. I can't really expect him to spend his day locked up, I guess. Which leaves me with only one thing to do. Sleep. Tomorrow is another day. And hopefully a better one. So as we leave Erik to get some rest, we're going to leave NeveN for now. And in the next episode we will go out hunting with Mr. Grumpy Horns. And we'll be doing some more stuff as well. But yeah, that is it for now. If you're wondering, next week will be Minotaur Hotel. It's time to check in on Asterion and the rest of the gang there. So that will be next week, and I still have to figure out the schedule for the rest of February. I haven't done that yet. But I hope you've been enjoying NeveN, and apologise for the singing earlier. That was very improved and took a couple of attempts. I still couldn't figure out a good tune, but I am not a musician or a singer, come to that. But yet we'll return to the story before too long. And before I wrap up, as always, say thank you to all my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. My top donors are Legacy Bucciarati, Burnt Toast, Kartek, Govers Visser, Bisuksu, Larkaskerton, Bastian, Ryan Hall, Tiger Cub, Ada Corval, Anubis Silverwind, Dissonance, Grizz, Spiderling, Hopi, Sindri Dragowolf, Marcus, Evan King, Exak, Aaron Fox, Mohammed Al-Zamel, Andy Peng, Samuto, Omar, Big Booty Judy, and Nightscale. So special thanks to all of them. And mentioning Grizz reminds me that one thing I definitely do have to get done in February is that compilation of Tyson scenes from Password. We're getting quite close to the end, and I need to get that together for you all so we can see what's been going on in Ty's route without repeating myself completely. So that is something I'll be putting together over the next couple of weeks or so. So more Password. And then in March, all being well, it's the big one. Yes, we'll be reaching the end of Password. It's been a long time. I should look up when I started it. But yeah, that is something to look forward to later in the year, along with more NeveN and everything else. So that is it. As you're all turning off to do something far more interesting, listen to me jabber on about stuff, I will say thanks for watching. Bye for now.